Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we're tackling something you've probably seen 100 times when scrolling through your investment apps, AUM, or assets under management. We're going to demystify exactly what this massive number actually means, and more importantly, why bigger isn't always better for your portfolio. We are totally shattering the illusion of size today to give you the real tools for evaluating a fund's true worth.
Let's just do a quick flyby of our roadmap. We're covering 1. Decoding AUM, 2. The perks of high AUM, 3. The size disadvantage, 4. AUM by fund category, and 5. Holistic mutual fund selection. Let's dive right in.
Section 1. Decoding assets under management. Okay, so before we can judge if a number is good or bad, we really need to strip away the jargon. AUM simply means the total combined money managed by a mutual fund scheme. Think of it like a giant shared digital piggy bank. When you and me and thousands of other people buy units in a fund, all that money goes into a massive shared pool. The total real-time value of that entire pool, that is the fund's assets under management. It's literally just a measure of the fund's size.
To put that into perspective, imagine 10 lakh investors throwing their money together, and the result is a combined pool of 20,000 crores. That huge number is the fund's AUM. But you gotta remember, this isn't the fund house's own corporate money. It's the collective weight of investors' capital. When you see 20,000 crores, you're really just looking at the sheer scale of public trust that has been gathered by that specific scheme.
Moving right along to Section 2, the perks of high AUM.
So, why do we naturally feel warmer and fuzzier when we see a fund sitting on mountains of cash? Well, a massive AUM doesn't automatically mean it's a safe bet, but it definitely brings some undeniable perks. We're talking solid operational stability, a massive baseline of investor trust, and fantastic liquidity, meaning they have so much cash on hand that they can easily absorb a bunch of daily redemptions without even breaking a sweat. Plus, because they can spread their fixed costs over a gigantic pool of money, large funds often boast lower expense ratios, which is a clear win for you as the investor.
And this is exactly why beginners instinctively gravitate towards the massive established players. You know the names: SBI Mutual Fund, ICICI Prudential, HDFC. These guys manage enormous sprawling scale across their portfolios. And if you're just starting out, seeing that lots of other people trust these giants with thousands of crores, well, it provides a massive psychological safety net. It screams stability. It's the ultimate comfort of the crowd.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Section 3, the size disadvantage.
Now, I want you to really think about this. If big funds are so incredibly stable, shouldn't you just throw all your money into the absolute highest AUM fund available? It sounds completely logical, right? Well, actually, no. In the mutual fund world, massive success can sometimes become a fund's own worst enemy. A huge AUM can easily morph from a protective shield into a massive, heavy anchor dragging performance down.
Think about it like this. Managing a gigantic AUM is literally like trying to steer a colossal cargo ship, while a smaller AUM is like driving a nimble little speedboat. Imagine taking that massive cargo ship and trying to navigate a tight, winding river. It's incredibly slow, it takes a ton of effort just to turn a few degrees, and it completely misses out on the smaller, hidden inlets. But a speedboat? It can zigzag, pivot instantly, and dart into those hidden market opportunities. It's the exact same logic for fund managers.
This becomes absolutely crucial when we talk about mid and small cap funds. When these funds get too big, that sheer size absolutely tanks their agility. Just think about it. If a fund managing tens of thousands of crores suddenly decides to buy into a tiny small cap stock, their massive buying volume will artificially shoot the stock price up before they even finish their purchase. They totally lose their flexibility. And because they can't maneuver quietly in and out of positions, it becomes incredibly difficult to generate high alpha. You know, those juicy excess returns that actually beat the market benchmark.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, AUM by fund category.
So the rules of the AUM game completely change depending on the playground the manager is in. As you can see, a large AUM is perfectly fine, even beneficial for large cap and index funds. They're dealing with massive companies anyway, so the economies of scale work entirely in their favor. But for mid caps, and especially small caps, you actually want to hunt for moderate, agile AUMs. An extremely large AUM in a small cap fund is a severe bottleneck. The manager literally cannot deploy that much capital effectively without completely disrupting the market.
Let's tie this all together in our final section, holistic mutual fund selection.
Now that we've established AUM is really just a measure of scale, how should you actually pick a fund? Well, AUM is literally just one piece of a much larger puzzle. You've got to look under the hood. You need a holistic view. Check the fund's historical consistency, its alpha,
the Sharpe ratio, and the actual track record of the fund manager. Like, is the manager consistently generating strong alpha over the years? And crucially, what's that Sharpe ratio looking like? Meaning, are you actually getting rewarded with good returns for the level of risk they're taking? You have to weigh all of this, alongside the expense ratio and overall portfolio strategy.
Let's play out a real-world scenario. Say you have Fund A. It's got a giant marketing budget, massive name recognition, and a huge AUM, but its actual performance is just kind of meh. Then you have Fund B, our nimble little speedboat. It has a moderate AUM, which lets the manager flawlessly execute their strategy, leading to better consistency and a vastly superior Sharpe ratio. Comparing the two side by side, Fund B is the absolute smarter choice. Do not let yourself get blinded by the bloated, gigantic AUM of Fund A.
I absolutely love this analogy. AUM is like crowd size in a restaurant. If a place is completely empty or a fund has a tiny AUM, you might be a bit skeptical, right? Like, is the food bad? Are they going to shut down? But if it's packed to the rafters with a line around the block, the kitchen gets completely overwhelmed, service tanks, and your experience suffers. You want that perfectly balanced, healthy crowd. That is the exact sweet spot an active fund manager needs to truly thrive.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this core takeaway. AUM indicates size and scale, period. It does not dictate quality. A small fund can be spectacular, and a massive fund can be totally sluggish. So the real question is, next time you're evaluating a fund, are you going to look past the sheer size and start using AUM as just one piece of context rather than your ultimate deciding factor?
And finally, please remember, this conversation is for educational purposes only. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks, so definitely consult a qualified professional before you start investing. Thanks so much for joining me to decode the AUM illusion today. Remember, when it comes to your portfolio, bigger isn't always better. It's how you navigate the waters that counts. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.